Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July Cypresswood Community Association meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and have our astute Vice President do the roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Club Patio.
Here.
Cypress Pond.
Here.
Eagle Pond. Enclave.
Here.
Fairway Patio.
Here.
Garden Patio.
Here.
Golf Villas. Greenfield Village.
Here.
Meadows.
Here.
Oak Grove.
Here.
Palmacia.
Here.
Plantations.
Here.
Sand Hill Lane.
Here.
Villas on the Green.
We have a quorum, thank you. Can I have the next slide, please, Susan? There we go. I need a motion and approval for tonight's meeting agenda, please.
Motion.
Mr. Brett has made such a motion. Mr. Shire is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I also need approval, a motion and approval for the minutes from the June 21st meeting. Anybody like to make such a motion? Mr. Murphy has made that. Is there a second to that? Okay, Mr. Potter, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, resident comments. We have Mr. Tim Weiss. Mr. Weiss, you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Tim.
My name's Tim Weiss. We moved down here permanently about August of last year. We've been snowbirds in Ohio. My first question is to our lawyer. Is he here?
He is here.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Christopher. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too
Right.
bad.
I've got a son in Columbus, Ohio. That's a very, very, very good attorney. A partner in a big law firm. But anyway, so I got a lot of respect for your job. Who do you represent here?
Am I permitted to answer that?
You are.
Okay, thank you. I represent the Cypresswood Community Association today.
This group here? Okay, all right. So I got a question for you. For the rest of us that live here, are we entitled to see the books? Since we donate to, we all chip in, I mean, every one of us pays something here. Are we entitled to see the books?
May I respond to that?
You may.
Thank you. Is that before I eat up your time with...
No, that's okay. I don't have that. I don't need that much time.
Okay, all right. Your answer presupposes that you actually pay money into this association.
Absolutely.
You don't.
I do.
No, actually you don't. Hear me out. This is actually not a homeowners association. This is an association of associations. The folks who actually pay into this master or community association are actually individual homeowners associations. We never get checks from John Doe or Mary Jane or anything like that. It's from Cypresswood Enclave or Cypresswood Plantations or Cypresswood Fairway. It's individual homeowners associations that pay into this, and they are the ones that actually have the votes in this organization.
Okay, that makes sense. So these are the representatives from our associations.
Yes.
Have any one of you ever seen the books, a profit loss statement from actual profit loss? A profit loss.
Yeah. You see them every
So
month.
you've seen the income and outgo on every aspect?
Yes.
Okay, but I can't see it.
The community association financials are on the website.
No, I'm talking about profit loss. Like, I owned a pub and a restaurant, and I had sales and expenses and net profit all the way down lines. Like,
You're asking about the LLC's financial. That's what you're asking for.
That's what we're supplementing in our associations.
You are paying part of your assessment to the recreational amenities committee, which has the supervision of the
So we
relationship.
have no idea if we lost $100,000 in the last 6 months here in this building or on the golf course, or actually where the money's going to that we've.
The amenities committee has full access to the books of the LLC and is reported on a monthly basis. If
I mean,
not-
I see the budget, but I don't see a profit loss statement,
The amenities committee gets those financial documents every month.
but I can't see them.
You can come to a meeting and see them.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
I guess that's it. I just like to know how much we're losing every day, every week, every month in this building and on the golf course, because the money that's being spent obviously isn't improving the golf course. The income from the golf course can't be covering expenses. The income from here, because I owned my own. I didn't get donations from 250 houses or 2,500 houses. If I didn't make a profit, I went out of business. I mean, I bought my place with my money, and if I had to make improvements, I used my money, and I ran golf courses the same way. If they didn't make money, shame on them. They went out of business. So, I'd just like to know where we're headed and why we're looking so bad. From the money we've invested, it looks really bad. The golf course looks like a cow pasture.
Committee reports, next slide please, Savannah. Next one, sorry. The Treasury Advisory Committee, Mr. Tucker. Just, hey, get 2 hurdles.
Where's the camera? Right here?
Right on the X.
All right. She moved it. Maybe through our reporting tonight, you'll get a better picture and a better understanding. We're working very hard to be sure that the board and all of our residents know what is going on financially. Okay, I'm going to give you a snapshot of the balance sheet and the income and expense report for the CCA for the month ending June 30th. We ended up with $40,200 in net cash. We have $595,931 in reserve accounts available for projects and what the needs are for the community. We have 2 debts, very large ones, the golf course and the irrigation. One is $882,143.27. The other is $975,811.66. If you take the operating cash and the general reserve account, that totals $202,301, month ending June 30th. Okay? Those are unassigned dollars that can be used for whatever the needs are. Okay? The revenues for the CCA for the year have been $469,492. Those are all assessments plus, goodness gracious, we have $294 income from interest on our certain investments. Expenses. Every committee, with the exception of grounds, is better than planned. Total grounds is $7,081 over budget, but largely that is due to timing. Things happen, things have to be done. There's months where we don't spend as much as the budget is. Every other budget is under plan. Drainage is under plan by almost $15,000. Traffic control. I'm sorry. I usually put it on one page, but I wasn't sure I was going to be here. Okay, traffic control is almost $2,500 under budget. Total general administrative is $5,200 under budget. Total expenses are $15,792 under budget at June 30th. In the detail, every president got the detail. Any questions? Thank you.
You gonna bring Scott up?
Scott, do you have any questions? Scott has if you recall, at the end of the first quarter, Scott did a roll-up of everything and a report. Now, end of second quarter, Scott has the same report to do, except with new numbers. Come on up, Scott, please.
Next slide, please, Ben.
Okay, this is the June 30th report, which takes the financial reporting from the CAM for the CCA and updates it versus the budget for 2021. So there's 2 pages. This first page deals with our operational budgets. The top part will give you a breakdown of our annual budget, where there's $938,985 in assessments that come in for the year, and that's broken out into 2 budgets. The operational page, which is $436,982, and then the second page will deal with amenities, spelled with an I, but hey, $502,003. On this page, we've got landscape budgeted $98,000. You'll see 3 columns. The first column is the budgeted for 2021. The second column shows what we've paid total through June 30th. And then the last column gives you the remaining 2021 budget. So you can see the screen. Landscape, year-to-date, paid $56,253. Traffic control, year-to-date, paid $67,650. G&A and utilities, $19,188. Drainage, $18,893. And then the last section deals with the amounts of money we collect in our budgets set aside for reserves. We've got 4 categories that we contribute to. Traffic control building reserves, $500 year-to-date. General reserves, $76.25 year-to-date. Road reserves, $26,000. And drainage reserves, $10,000. So a total of $206,000 of our budget has been spent year-to-date at June 30th. Below that are the balances we have in our reserve accounts. $16,000 for the front entrance, round numbers. Traffic control, $3,500. General reserves, $162,000. Drainage reserves, $85,000. Road reserves, $290,000, and interest of $17,445. Now, on the reserves, you see 2 notes. The pump replacement, that balance shows a payment, reflects a payment we made already on the 15th hole pump replacement of $40,000 roughly, and more to pay out on that. I'm sure that'll get addressed tonight. And then the boulevard paving is getting ready to be done, I believe, in this quarter, correct? Thank you. And that approximate cost is about $210,000. So we've got $290,000 to cover that. So that's our operational costs that we pay for out of our budget. Now, this next slide, please. This is the amenities budget. And let's see, so again, 3 columns. First column gives you the annual budget for 2021. Numbers in red show what we've paid through June 30th, and then the last column gives you the balance remaining. Advertising and marketing, golf course, building improvements. On that one, there's been $35,000 spent year-to-date. When the initial budget was made starting the year, $30,000 was allocated for that. So we've overspent by about $5,000 there. If you look at the bottom of the page, though, you'll see there was a $4,000 surplus from last year, so it all kinds of flows together. Amenities is a little bit fluid. We set our budgets, we stick to our budgets, but as we go through the year, the expenditures move around a little bit because everything isn't as cast in stone like an electric bill might be. So you'll see some of the numbers through the year will come in under, some will come over. At the end of the day, we've got, as you can see, $502,000 to spend, and that's our allowance. Operational, we've got agronomics. A lot of agronomics is the feeding of the golf course, and thank goodness we had rain in June because we had a lot of feed that was down. A lot of had been invested in getting things ready, and we needed rain because the watering system couldn't handle all this turf out here, and it's greened up nicely. We've done some improvements to cart paths. We've got maintenance and repairs and utilities. The other line items are pool and clubhouse and then property and liability. So total loan balance is at the bottom of the page, 1.8 roughly is the balance of the loans we have. So that's the report. Again, this just lays over the financial reporting for the year against the budget that we had for the year. As we go through time, it'll give us a history too to do a little bit of comp work. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, so first, thank you for putting this together. I think this is helpful it would be helpful for quite a few residents. So was this presented in advance? Bob, did you send this out as part of your email? Was this presentation?
I might not have had it done.
Yeah, I don't
fast
know if
enough.
he got it to me.
I was on vacation.
Yeah, he was on vacation.
So is this something that you're going to send out after?
Yes, it will be out. It will be sent out, like all presentations are tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And if there's any questions, I mean, it's straight from what the CAM produces in the financials. But if anybody ever has any questions and wants more details, you can always contact me and I'll answer questions.
Is there a chance going forward that we can have this in advance of this meeting?
Hopefully, yes.
Yes, Mike.
Let me make a comment about this. What Scott has on board, and there were 2 screens, that the intent of the committee that's working on that and the intent of the board at the time we decided to do this, we're trying to take the 29-page financial report that you were holding up in your hand a while ago, and of that 29 pages, 25 or 26 are the check register. So the first 3 or 4 pages of that monthly financial report that all the presidents get, we decided you really can't, by looking at it without a lot of difficulty, you can't see the numbers and understand as good as you can by what Scott's done here. So the intent, Scott, if I understood it right, was that while we might continue to issue the report from the CAM as it is, this is going to go with it to the presidents ahead of the meeting. That was the way I understood it.
If at all possible.
And it should.
We have to get the financial report from the CAM before we can produce this.
Right.
So this takes, only maybe a day or 2, but I don't think we had the report from the CAM until the end of the week last week. So, yeah.
Next slide, please.
Landscape Committee, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, and the update tonight is, hopefully you've all driven by the front entrance and see that it's just about complete up there. Just a quick update as to where we are on it. We have the landscape is in, the electric has been handled. We have turned those 2 invoices into the insurance company. I've talked to them personally. They are preparing the remainder of the $10,000 that they owe us. We have approximately $8,500 in-house already, and they're going to get a check for about $1,500 to wrap it up. We will have maxed out the policyholder's liability for the damage that he caused. The only thing that's not done yet is that we have to have some work done to the south end of the sign. We've got to get that sealed and painted, and then we're going to do a pressure washing to clean the entire sign so that it looks good and we get it cleaned up. bottom line is, when we come out of this, approximately, we're probably gonna spend about $9,000 of the 10,000 that we got, so we will be under the amount that we've received to cover the damage of the sign. So everything is back on track there. We've got it looking good, and it's gonna I think it's gonna serve us well until we see what happens with 542, the road construction, which should be done in about 2023, see how that goes. And that's it from the landscape. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Fred, do we have insurance to cover that sign?
I'm sorry, what?
Do we have insurance to cover that sign in case if someone hit that sign right in the middle, it would be much more than $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know how the community has I don't know if they have a policy to cover things that occur like that or not. That's a broad question, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll look at the list and see if it's one of the included assets. I believe it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'll check and I can report that back out. I'm not. There's a lot of buildings. It was part of the list that we produced that we were all responsible for. So my assumption is it is, but that I don't know what happens when we assume.
Okay, how about the sign or the pumps that we put out on 15? Is that practical to insure them?
Bill, I don't know if you want. I don't know. I don't know.
The only thing
I would say yes, because of lightning damage.
Yeah, probably for that.
Okay.
that's the only thing that I can see that can
Yeah,
damage
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But, it all depends. I don't know how much we paid for the pumps themselves. That's why it may not.
We'll look into that.
Yeah, that's like
Once we
60,000.
get electricity to it.
Well, it's worth insuring.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, that's a good point.
Okay.
Anything else for landscape?
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Traffic. Next slide, please, Savannah. Traffic control, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry I couldn't be here last month, but I did get to see all your smiling faces on YouTube. And that was a good thing. From traffic, I can tell you that at our traffic control meeting held earlier tonight, report from Jeff Sell, our supervisor, right now things have gone exceedingly well with regard to the new signage, the drivers showing ID coming through the non-resident lane. Jeff said that the large majority of vendors that are showing up, which primarily would be probably the 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon shift, the large majority of those vendors are in fact being called in by our residents. So accolades to the presidents for getting that word out to your folks. Thank you. Staff is still instructed that should someone show up that wants to claim that they're a vendor, there are other means by which we can allow them to come in, whether or not the homeowner has remembered to call or not. I have not heard any issues with regard to family members or the pizza deliveries. Keep in mind, we are not asking residents to call in your pizza deliveries or your Uber Eats. That's okay. Those individuals, when they come through, are typically going to be showing their ID anyway. What we're after are plumbers, air conditioners, roofers. I will share with you that shortly after, probably within 2 weeks of our June 1st kind of roll into this new procedure, we had an issue arise that a company, APC Roofing, was doing a roof on Murfield. And they came through the gate, they furnished their IDs, it was called in by the resident, everything was hunky-dory until about 2 or 3 other pickup truckloads of people in the APC trucks came in, and lo and behold, those people had their same address. Everything from staff standpoint looked to be copacetic until we started getting phone calls at the gatehouse about solicitation. Thankfully, Jeff Sell, our supervisor, was out and about, happened to find a solicitor on Canberra. I'm coming to the board tonight We had talked about if someone just blatantly wants to solicit, what can we do? And I think Christopher advised us that since the CCA owns the roads, we kind of have some leeway there that if we decide we don't want someone coming in, that might be something we want to look at. So I'm coming to you tonight, board. APC Roofing very definitely violated the solicitation rule that we have at the gate. And this was even after, as they were coming in, they were told by staff, no solicitations. So I've been asked by our supervisor for the board to consider banning APC Roofing maybe for a period of a year. Or, that's up to you all, but that is coming from the gate supervisor that would like to do that. He did speak with a supervisor directly when he caught the solicitor, and he said, I don't know what's up with you people. We have told you at the gate you're not allowed to solicit, and these people are obviously in here doing just that. So other than that, I think the ID situation is going well. I think the call-in procedure is going exceptionally well, considering the change that it has put all of us through as residents. And that's it. Questions, board?
You want to make a motion to ban them, or?
Yeah, I'd like to have a motion second to do that.
Chris, how would we functionally just have a vote of the board to do it? That's all it would, okay, I just want to make sure. Mr. Brett?
I'll make a motion.
Any second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. How long? A year? Is that what the motion is? For a
I'd
year?
like to go for a year.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's something we probably will need to put out to residents so that you're not having a resident that is contracting with this firm. And I will probably add something to the traffic article and highlights to bring this up. APC Roofing out of Winter Garden.
I'll send that out with tomorrow's email too. Just make sure I take a picture of it later.
Thank you all.
Anything else for Rick? Okay, next slide please, Savannah.
Oh, wait,
Road.
wait. Rick,
Yes.
do you know if that's the only office they have out of Winter Gardens, or,
That I don't know. That's the business card of the supervisor that Jeff got from the little girl that was soliciting.
so it would be APC from Winter Gardens? If they were APC from Lakeland or something, that would be different, or?
You're not going to have two roofing companies with exactly the same name in Florida.
No, but it could be the same company with a different office.
Well, that doesn't matter. They're banned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Chris, should there be a notification to that company?
I think so.
And that should come from your, right.
Do we have any idea as to how many people they have under contract? Are they close to finishing up working in here, or?
They are through that job that they were on at the time, and as far as any new jobs or others, I don't know. I did not get the impression from Jeff Sell, our supervisor, that those trucks have been back into the community at all. So my guess is that was a one and done. It may have been an insurance issue that this is the approved roofers and that's who did it. That's a question I don't have an answer for.
They're out of Claremont. They have 5 locations, according to the website.
Good job, Scott.
Rick, I have a quick one for you.
Yes.
When do we start turning away like the lawn maintenance people? Like what hour of the night? Like do we start turning away at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock? Yeah, we did. I had a couple complaints, and I was just like, and they said, when does the gate close down like the non-essentials? What I mean by non-essentials is if you have a pipe broke, you need a plumber.
Right.
If the air conditioning's broken, you need an air conditioning guy. But for like the guy with the weed whacker or whatever, when is he not allowed to come in and service?
Isn't that neighborhood specific?
It really is.
So you would all have to agree that there will be no service professionals at X o'clock collectively.
That would be like a local.
Because we can't expect the gate staff to determine, okay, the Greenfield Road is 7 PM and Enclave is 8 PM and Fairway Patio is 5 AM or whatever. You know, just, so if you wanted to do that, you'd have to kind of say, okay, it's 8 PM and that's the number or whatever. I think right now, I think it's been daylight, if I'm remembering, a lot of the things they say daylight hours. I kind of have that in my head, but again, there's a lot of stuff in my head.
I thought it was 8 to 8. Just more.
Yeah, and I think it's neighborhood specific. So do you know what yours is?
That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, okay. Chris can find out. Okay, anything else, Dave?
That's it.
Cool, all right. Road drainage, Mr. Shira.
Good evening, I'm Bill Shira. We're going to talk about roads and drainage. Let me start with roads and related road items. About 2 weeks ago, we had all the signs in the community pressure washed. We got a pretty good, decent deal on that. They got a lot done, took them a couple of days. It's probably something we don't notice because the signs all look a little bit better. We also have some paving we're about to begin. On the second garden patio, they'll begin the milling and paving process. In each of the communities when this is going on and on the Clubhouse Road and the Boulevard, when we're doing the milling, there'll be traffic control in place. Traffic will move not as smoothly as normal, but everybody will have access in and out of every area, and specifically back into here. So it's a dirty mess, it's noisy. Every neighborhood's gonna go through it, it's part of the process. And it should only take, and I'll speak to garden patio, I believe that's slotted for simply 2 days. 1 day to mill, 1 day to pave. Any striking work to be done should, I think, all be done at one time, and that'll be at the end of the entire process. We have 4 areas that we're paving. Again, garden patio is first. Second will be enclaves. That will be later that week, Thursday and Friday. And then I think about the 12th, and I'm not sure I'm exactly correct on that date, we'll be doing villas on the green. That is a big project in terms of milling because of all the parking that's involved there. And they're going to have their challenges being sure their roads are clear, but once again, for any of the villa on the green folks that might be tuned in, you'll still be able to have access to your community. You just can't put your cars out in the middle of everything that's going on because of the equipment moving through there. The process of doing villas on the greens in terms of milling and paving is a 2 to 3 to 4 day project, and as they finish that, they'll come back, I think, a week after that, and we'll be doing all of Clubhouse Road out to the 4-way, and then from the 4-way to the entry to the community. And that project, I believe, is scheduled for 3 to 4 days. So by the end of the month of August, we're going to have a lot of new pavement here. I'm happy for each of the neighborhoods that are getting their roads done. We'll have another batch of roads we'll be doing in about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I know my community should be amongst those coming at that time, and I think Plantation maybe is in that group. And if there's any other neighborhoods that are going to be close to needing paving, that'll be the time to attack it. One of the things, I'm going to get to our budget here at the end of the presentation, but that's one of the things that made it come out so well for us this year. We've got 3 neighborhoods and our own community association paving to be done. That's a sizable amount of paving. It's about $400,000 worth. What that did for us was it got all the cost of the paving for each of us greatly reduced. So we benefit by gathering together as a group and getting volume discount. And that's all I've got on roads. Mark?
Yeah, just one comment. Obviously, because of the weather, they want to come in early in the morning. So these folks, the crews and what have you, will be coming in here like at 6:30. They really want to be going by 7 o'clock. Of course, they're trying to get as much done as they can because of the afternoon rain. So, and those schedules, of course, are right now. There's some flexibility. We left some gap days in there to account for the fact that the weather is cooperative. If it starts raining, they can't lay down new asphalt.
All right, next, let's talk about drainage items. We have not completed the new pump system that's over on 15T. The pumps are in place. The majority of the site work's been done. We are waiting on Duke Power to come out and hook power up. If you recall, we had a request that we put out to all of you for an additional $12,400 that the power company demands that we pay. In our initial plans, we were instructed we would not have to put new transformers in. We were prepared to work from things based upon the way they were, but as we got to this point in time, we needed to put new transformers in and relocate them right to the station where the pump is. I don't think we've gotten a response from them yet. We've paid them the $12,400, but I don't believe we've got a response yet.
Well, I've been having lots of conversations with Duke Energy, going up the chain of command here, because from the time that you pay it, they're saying it's 7 weeks. And this is what I would classify as about a half a day to 1 day job max, and what they have to do. Also, there's actually under Homeland Security, there's a category called essential services. And we are defining that as essential service for our infrastructure. So now we've been dealing with these people quite a bit, and I've notified them. I'm now going to email them a request, a much more formal request to expedite it. Bill and I are going to review that tomorrow and send it out, and then give them a certain number of days to respond. And then after that, I think we'll be probably giving our state representative a call to see if he can call somebody down there to see if we can get this expedited. Because right now, the way we're functioning is the community owns one tractor and one pump, and we're using that to pump the water down. As soon as they hang those cans on the pole, we're good to go. And everything is set. The only thing I've held off on is sodding because of the Duke truck coming in to set the cans. Do not want them to tear up all our brand new sod, especially the golf course sod.
Did you say 7 weeks?
7 weeks.
Mark.
Thanks, man.
And that was as of July 6th.
Thank you.
Will the power line be underground?
No.
Oh, it's gonna come off one of them poles?
No, there's 3-phase power running overhead now along number 15 hole. And so they have to set 3 cans up there, 3 transformers. From there, we step it down to a service riser.
No, I was just thinking if
down into the panel.
If a storm blows the pole over.
No, those storms are, yeah.
Those are some Mac Daddy poles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's the status on that. We're not at all satisfied with that level of service, as you can tell from Mark's comments, and we're going to continue to elevate that and beat that drum. Stephen, fear not, the pump's in place. We're pumping water. We're taking care of the east side of Cypresswood Boulevard, and we'll continue to do that. We just like to get this project finished and running.
I believe you.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the pump side of things?
I have a question.
Are you on budget, excluding the extra 20 grand you originally allocated for possible overages?
We're not. I don't think we've got the final. Have we got the final filling on all the items?
No.
I don't think we have. I can tell you where I think we are, and Mark, listen to what I say and comment, please.
Okay.
I believe that we're going to come in about $15,000 over what we planned. And I hope I'm being generous with that. I think we're going to come in at a total of about 247 or 248. We initially thought that would be about a 230 was what we started at. Then we had to ask for the additional 12 that we got surprised by. There would be items that come up in the process that are quoted based upon volume. As you get into these projects and you get into the ground and you see what the issues are, then some things you don't use as much of, other things you use more of. But I think we're going to be certainly within that range. And we're going to know all that, Robert. I'd say we're going to know all that within 10 days.
Yeah, that's 10 days, yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, so that's all I have on all that. Richard?
Bill, I got a question on the road situation.
Yes.
Is it my understanding that the boulevard is going to be widened?
No.
No, okay, that's all right then. That's all I want to know.
You might be referring to the potential to do some things further back your direction on the south side of the four-way.
The only thing that's going to be widened on the boulevard is right now that white line for walkers and bikers is 3 feet off the edge of the pavement. Okay, we're going to now, when it's redone, that line is going to be 4 feet on the edge of the pavement. That's the only widening that's going to occur to accommodate people going by each other and bicycles and stuff. A little bit safer, we thought.
Okay. Well, and how about the situation from Pharmacia to Wingfoot, is it? To Wingfoot. That's just a single lane.
That's a normal traffic lane, yes.
Yes.
Okay. For 4 years now, I've been trying to get a white line painted from Pharmacia to Wingfoot, because when you go through there at night and it's raining and the light, there's a light right there where the turn is. It gets on the windshield, the light reflects on the windshield and you can't see out there. So it's just the same way that the county does and the state does, that you always put a white line down the roads where there's a weather situation. And we really need that. Someone's going to get hit out there.
Why don't we meet with them, Bill, and just kind of walk it through?
Yeah, we should look at that, because that area, okay, so that area is not scheduled for resurfacing until 2029.
Yeah.
So therefore, it needs to be done, we don't need to wait. We could go ahead and attack it at this point.
Yeah, it should have been done yesterday.
What we'll do is we'll get a quote to do that, okay? And that would be both sides of the road, right?
But you don't need to do the other side.
You could do one, you need to do both.
Well, now,
It's just the one coming down, going south that I'm concerned with. That's the only, the other way, for some reason or another, it doesn't bother anything.
can we talk about this after the meeting?
Yeah,
I think that would be a better way to handle it. Now, I need to understand what you want. We're gonna have people here striping, and that certainly would be the time to do it. We just need to be sure it makes sense. Thank you. Now it's time for the budget.
Yes, next slide, please, Samantha.
All right, here's our budget proposal for 2022. I've got it listed up there next to the budget proposal for 2021. First thing I want you to notice is that the first item is our funding for the road reserve. Due to the fact that the cost of resurfacing had increased drastically, I think it was 2.5 years ago, our total budget was a little bit short. We accelerated it last year, having taken it from $28,000 a year to $52,000 a year. And that, by accumulating at that rate, we were able to meet the needs as they were going to come up for each of the batches of roads. Since we graciously accepted doing Clubhouse Road in this batch that we're going to do, And accepting that was done after I made that plan. What that did is that it pulled that out of the future need. Because of that, we were able to reduce the road reserve funding from $52,000 to $40,000. That will still allow us to meet all of our road needs as they come up in 2023 or 4 and 2029 and 2036. Those are the future cycles needed for road resurfacing. So we're able to roll that part of the budget back and in essence lower our budget. We are going to continue to accumulate for stormwater pump because we will be rebuilding the pump that is on the west side over off hole number 2. That will not be anywhere near as complicated as the one on hole number 15. We're not going to need that much money. We haven't done complete studies on that. We're still focused on 15. That'll be the next project we look at. Mark and I have talked about it. We think 4 or 5 years. We think within a 5-year window, we're probably going to have to attack that. And we're going to look at that and see if we need to adjust that reserve. But at this point, that would give us $100,000 to start that project with. Next item is drainage repairs. Last year, we reduced our request for drainage repairs from $40,000 down to $36,000. Okay, we want it back. We still have corrugated metal pipe in the ground that needs to be removed and replaced. We've been taking
repairs.
Yeah, and we have band separation repairs, just the normal junk that comes up. We need to continue to address that. So we're going to increase that back to what it used to be. Our pump maintenance should remain the same. What we pay for pump operation should remain the same. We don't think our power bill is going to change. And our herbiciding, which is how we take care of the ponds and all that stuff, we don't see that changing. So our total of all items for road and drainage will remain the same this year as it was last year. Are there any questions?
On the road reserve funding, did you account for what happened this round into the future?
You can't account for it. You just check it every year and you keep adjusting it.
Did you check it this year?
Yes, we did. Okay. We're doing something.
I'll ask next year.
And I'm using that number.
I'll ask next year again.
Oh, I look forward to hearing from you. Little brothers are a pain, I'm just telling you. Okay. Any other questions? Give me a motion.
So we need to do a motion and a second to, do a question, or you're making the motion?
No motion.
Motion to accept that, and a second by Mr. Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
You have a provisional budget, thank you. Amenities Committee, Dr. Palmer is sick, so I guess I am doing that for the group. Next slide, please, Savannah. This is a financial snapshot that the Amenities Committee does for the LLC operations. It is from January of this year, or comparing January of this year to July 15th of 2021 and 20. You can see revenue of $792,000 this year. Last year was $516,000. Expenses are $730,000. 2020 they were $511,000. Obviously, we were closed and COVID more last year than this year. And this is the net that is as of that date, July 15th. So there's $62,101.18 compared to $4,400. Any questions there? Pretty standard as we run through these things. Next slide, please. This is the amenities side of the budget, as Mr. Shire pointed out earlier. The amenities budget assessment portion is roughly $502,000. So far through the May 17th, that's actually the June 17th, it's $324,799. Unallocated funds to date is 181. The June operational report request from the amenities group is $60,000. That includes all those other items that were listed, the agronomics, the repair and maintenance, all those ones that were listed, and then the taxes, utilities, that sort of thing. Any questions on that? As Mr. Shire has stated, the goal is to get these reporting as simple as possible so that everybody can have a better understanding of what's going on. Okay, then this is like on the agenda it says, this is a motion will be made to the board to approve and ratify the expenses submitted by the amenities committee for board approval, noting that the monies expended are part of the previously approved recreational amenities budget. Would anybody like to make that motion? Mr. Shire has made that motion. Is there a second? Mr. Brett has made that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next slide, please, Savannah. This is the amenities committee proposed budget for 2022. Basically, actually, it's not going to change. It's exactly the same amount. This is the way Martha did this, and unfortunately I'm catching up. This is the interest and principal on the two loans, the projected amenities support, which has been the same for the last 3 years, the estimated property insurance, the estimated property tax, and the pool expense. The remainder for board-approved reserves is the $25,000. Any questions on that? Next slide, please. These are the amenities committee's future maintenance expenses, building repair and maintenance, pool repairs and maintenance, remodel the tennis court area, club roof, AC units, exterior and interior paint, and tree trimming. Any questions on those? These are pretty, yes, Joe?
Just quick, so what you're saying is you're not looking for any more money for the amenities?
The amenities committee does not have an increase in their budget.
Okay.
On that, come in.
Sure, Mike.
Well, I'm on the amenities committee and the treasurer's advisory committee, for those of you that don't know it. I think it's important for the board to understand that the road and drainage budget that Bill just presented and which you tentatively approved covers projected operating costs for next year and a certain amount for the reserve. That budget request and every other budget request for all the other committees is going to go to the treasurer's advisory committee. We're going to reconcile those. I kind of hold that thought. If you go back one screen to the amenities budget proposal, none of all of that is not in fact what the amenities budget needs to be for 2022. Because this budget does not account, flip to the next screen, Savannah, if you would. None of that accounts for any of this. And we have repairs and expenses in all this area facing us over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So don't sit here thinking if you vote to approve this, and you should, I mean, this is okay, it's going to the TAC committee. The TAC committee is going to come back to you and actually propose the actual budget for the amenities committee and road and drainage and all the others. So that's a number, but I hope to God it's not the final number. Because if we continue not to make provision for these reserves that we need to establish, we're going to find ourselves in a lot of trouble. So the hope of the TAC committee is to, within just a few days, meet, make up the budget that we're going to propose that you will consider at the August meeting. But we're going to send it to you within just a few days. So you will have it ahead of your August board meetings, and you'll be able to consider it before you come to this meeting in August, in which the TAC committee will put that same budget we send to you as the committee that we're going to put up here on this screen. so that you can look at all your questions and talk about it in your boards. And then when you get to the August meeting, if you vote to approve that budget, hopefully, as opposed to what happened last year, when you come to the August meeting and we make that presentation, all of your questions will come up then. You've already met with your boards and had your discussion, so whatever you would approve in August, when you come back in September to confirm that vote, and then the budget is set, we're hoping that we do it in that manner, and then we don't have to flip to 1 or 2 or 3 workshops. So the TAC committee is on top of this time to try to help you to get the information before, in fact, but this is not the budget actually. This is the proposed budget without any consideration for reserve. Yes, sir.
When you make your actual budget proposal, will there be a good deal more detail in it? For instance, will you tell us what you're going to do when you remodel the tennis court areas?
I don't know that at this point we can tell you with the budget. I think it would be, because Martha has already done, she's been working on this now for 5 years, and the RAC committee has. They have very rough estimates for the different items that you see up here, and I think that's fair to say. We have reasonable ballpark numbers, yes. So we will put those out there, but you take those numbers and you look at them, they're not absolute, just like Bill talks about road and drainage, you get into the ground, but they're close, because we've already been looking at the projects of what's going to happen. So we'll put that out there. The main goal of the TAC committee in the August meeting is going to give you a target to shoot at in establishing reserves, and then as we go forward, hopefully this time, I think the board's desire, that's what I've heard from you, and as we talk about in the managers committee meetings and in the TAC committee meetings, is to get more, if we're going to have a project, our hope is that we'll be able, before the project, to give you the full details, estimated cost, the contract, bids that we would put out, and have all of those details, and that we could send to you ahead of a board meeting so you have details. That's our goal.
Then by approving your proposed budget, we don't approve those specific projects. Do they come
That's
separately?
true. You're not
Yeah,
approving.
that's correct.
You're not committed to do any of this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. But I just wanted you to understand it, and you're going to have the information probably within about 10 days. Hopefully. Really hopefully.
Ben, you gotta get to work. Can you go back one screen, please? We do need provisional approval for the $502,000, please. Mr. Shires made such a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Shire Jr. has made this. The second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Samantha, 2 ahead, please. Is there any new business to be brought before the board?
I need to mention something, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier. Last month when I wasn't here, it was talked about the vehicle that sideswiped the police cruiser, and then there was a police presence down in Oak Grove, and a comment was made about reading license tags coming through the resident lane. We have never had the ability to have a tag reader on the resident lane. There is a camera that is on the side of the gatehouse that captures video of everything that goes through that lane. So when I was gone, I reached out to our gate video guy, and just so you know, if we wanted to have a tag reader installed on the incoming resident lane, we would have to bump up to a different size DVR that records everything, because we are currently maxed out with the one we have as far as number of cameras, and would have to buy the actual tag reader camera. So just so you know, throw another number out, that's about an $1,800 bump up if that's something that we ever want to do. That's what we're looking at.
Rick, how is that different from a regular cameras? I mean, can't a regular one see the tag? No?
That's a good question. The tag reader cameras, I read it in here, let's see here. It's like 1,000+ line resolution, so it can get the chin hair on a flea kind of thing. It's very Mac Daddy.
Any other new business for the board to consider? Okay, I would introduce a motion or entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, we are adjourned. See you next month.